Hello and welcome to episode 257 of my podcast all about knitting and crochet and my yarn shop here in Wiesbaden, Germany. I'm Kiko and today is December 16th, 2024. And today I'm wearing two older things, not very old, but the cowl that I'm wearing, the project is called Blauer Strider, because the pattern is called Strider and it's by Susan Pandorf and it's out of her Fellowship of the Ring series. And this is the second time I knit this pattern. The first time I knitted in a dark gray yarn, and that's also one of my favorite cowls. And I'm always surprised that whenever I wear that cowl that people will comment on the pattern. And I kept thinking it's such a dark gray, I'm surprised they even noticed the pattern. But I've always wanted to knit the pattern again in a lighter yarn. And when I came across this beautiful opal sock yarn color, I knew I had to knit another Strider cowl. And so I did, and I love this as well. It's one of the softer opal yarns. It's out of the Beauty series, if I remember correctly. And it shows the mix of cable and lace pattern very nicely. And it's just a really nice little thing to throw on if I need a little bit of warmth around my neck, but not a big, huge shawl. And I just love the colors. And so it certainly goes with a lot of my clothes that have the same kind of blue and turquoise in it. And one of those garments is this cardigan. It's knit out of a Noro yarn. So the colorful yarn is a Noro yarn. I don't really remember which one, but it's linked on my Ravelry page. And the dark blue, which looks almost black, the contrast color in between, is a baby alpaca yarn. It's not a Hansa Farm yarn, because I think when I knit the cardigan, oh, by the way, the cowl I knit 3 years ago, but the cardigan I already knit 11 years ago. And I think back then either Hansa Farm didn't exist yet, or I just didn't know about them. And back then I was working with Wolle and they had a baby alpaca yarn, which is very similar to the DK weight alpaca yarn that Hansa Farm make. And I used that as the contrast color in between the Noro yarn. And the pattern is from a Noro magazine. And it's a very special design for a cardigan. And back then my sister and I both knit the cardigan with the same yarn. So we had the same Noro yarn, but her baby alpaca yarn was a lighter blue. I think it was like this color. So she had a lot less of contrast in her stripes. And because she knits more loosely than I do, her cardigan was bigger than mine. But unfortunately, I think her cardigan either got lost or she gave it away. I don't remember. But as far as I know, she doesn't have it anymore. But I still have mine. I love it a lot. And you can see it has this very unique construction where you knit with short rows. The fronts are knit with short rows and the backs are knit sideways. And then I think the sleeves were picked up here and then also shaped with short rows for the like shoulder cap or something, and then just the stripes down. Yeah, so that's what I'm wearing today. Fairly old things, but I still love them. And that's the nice thing about knitting your own things, where you can choose the pattern, the colors, the yarn, the size. And it may take a long time to hand knit a garment, but you can wear them for a really long time. So that's what I'm wearing. Then on to finished objects. I have one finished project and one little finished object where the project is not finished yet. But I'll start with a bigger one, and they're both fairly new. So I think the bigger one is the older one, but it doesn't matter. But I finished my Merry Making Mystery Knit Along by Stephanie Lotvin, her Advent or her Christmas cowl. And I don't think it's a mystery anymore because the last clue was published on the 12th. But in case you're not finished and you don't want to see it, you have to look away now. Otherwise, this is my finished cowl. And I have to admit, I have not woven in the millions of ends, but I still call it a finished object. And I will weave in the ends fairly quickly, and then I will wash it and block it. And hopefully next week on the video, I'll wear it. That'll be like 2 days before Christmas, so the perfect time to be wearing this Yeah, so I used alpaca sock yarn by Hansa Farm. There are 6 different colors, and I used some glitter yarn with some of the colors. So I used it with the red and the pink here, with the red here, with the red here, with the white here. Then again, the red glitter yarn with the cars, the pink here. But with the reindeers, I decided not to use the red glitter yarn, but I used the silver glitter for the white, for the background. And then I used it for the pink and the gray stripe down here. And then no glitter yarn for the 2 blue-green colors. Yeah, really happy with all the motifs, with the way this looks. It looks fairly narrow, I think. I'm not sure whether it's more narrow than the Halloween loop that I knit. I'll have to compare them when I get home, but maybe I can block it to be a little wider. This is the back of the cowl, so this was the beginning of the round. So this is where the motifs sort of change directions and are sometimes a bit offset. And I can show you the inside. So some of the ends I sort of knit in. I did a weave and Steven with some of the colors, but with a lot of them, because of the color work, it didn't really work out for me. So there are quite a few ends that I still need to weave in. And yeah, you can see all the floats, the way I do my floats. And I think on this side, you can even see the glitter a little better because of the long floats. It's probably a little more visible than with the stitches themselves. Yeah, but I'm really happy I got that done. This was, again, the mystery knit along that got most of my love in the last week. I hardly knit on the other 2, just to already mention that. Yeah, really happy about that. Not really looking forward to weaving in the ends, but that needs to be done. And I'm looking forward to washing it and blocking it so that I can then wear it. And the other tiny little finished object that I did is the little socks. So I finished the first one to find out how many rounds I wanted to knit for each of the parts. And then I knit the second one in front of the camera. My husband hasn't worked on the video yet, so I'm not 100% sure that everything worked out. But at least the first take is done. And if everything works out, I'll have a finished tutorial video for February of next year. So tiny little socks with 1 strand of sock yarn, 4-ply sock yarn, and 1 strand of mohair silk. But I'll explain all about these socks in the video next year. So that's it for finished objects. Then on to works in progress. The first pair of socks that I showed last week is the third pair of sneaker socks with a neon accent color. And here I finished the little leg, so it's just a sneaker sock, so that's very short. And then I did 1 round of neon color round the heel. So I did half a round before I knit the heel, then I knit the heel. I did another half round of neon color. This side looks quite nice. This looks a little off, but I think when I weave in the ends of the neon color, I can work on that. And here with the stripes, again, you can see that I did short rows after I finished the heel so that the leg of the sock is a bit more like this and less like this, if you understand what I mean. There will be a tutorial video on how to do that next year at some point. So in case you were wondering, I will be doing that at some point. I knit a bit of the foot, but this is going to be a big sock, so there's quite a bit of work waiting for me there. Yeah, but I'm happy I got the heel done. Then the next sock that I'm going to show you is a new project. It's the only new cast on that I did last week. And again, I cast on a sock with a new colorway by Mkal. So I promised you I'm going to show you new colors or new yarns every week this December. So today I'm going to show you the series Wirbelwind, which is, I think it's a whirlwind, isn't it? Anyway, so the colors that I showed you last week were fairly calm and quiet colors for Mkal, and now we're back to their usual colorful self. And the whirlwind colorway, I really like the little picture on the ball bands. And now we have bright colors again. So this is like an orangey bright. This color was part of the Opal Abo, the Opal subscription. And I actually knit a hat out of this colorway with many, many colors. Then we have a very soft color. And at first I was thinking of using that color to knit the baby socks. But then I decided to go for a brighter color. And then these are the very bright colors plus the one that I'm knitting. And then the other 4 colors are all have some blue in them. So there's this one with blue and a little dark red, which is a really nice color. Then there's blue with green and turquoise. So of course I like this colorway a lot. Then we have a lot sort of dark blue, jeans blue colorway, which is this one. And then we have a light blue with, and they all have some white in them. So they all look a little lighter than some of the other colors that Opal produce. But this is a white and light blue and middle blue colorway, which I think is very, very beautiful. So yeah, as I said, quite a few blue colorways. And then we have the 3 colorful ones that I showed you. And the color that I chose to knit for the baby socks, that will be a tutorial video at some point next year, probably not February, because it has a bit of a, it's not a lace pattern, but it has yarn over, so it's sort of an open pattern. But this is the colorway that I chose. So another very bright and colorful yarn with green and purple and pink and yellow, and of course some white, because they all have some white in them. And I only just started the pattern, and this is what it looks like. So I've knit this pattern before several times, and I found it on Ravelry as an Estonian something pattern. I will link it on my project page, but what this pattern does, you do yarn overs in every round and also decreases in every round. This is why they sort of, why the pattern sort of spirals. And because of the spiral, the stripes that are in the yarn, they sort of get broken up into this little sort of almost zigzag pattern. And I really like that a lot. And that's why I wanted to make a tutorial video. And this is going to be the baby sock with this pattern in the leg. And the foot will be just plain stockinette. Excuse me. Okay, so that's the new cast on. Then back to the mystery knit-alongs that I'm knitting. I did not knit a lot on both of them. So I'll start with a step into Christmas socks. With that pattern, all the clues have been published. So I'm not sure it's really a mystery anymore. But in case you don't want to look, I'm not showing a lot more than last week, but I'm showing it now. So this is the leg that I showed you last week. And all I did is finish the heel flap and the heel turn. So not a lot, but at least I did that. I finished that so I could cut off the yarn and use the yarn for the cowl, because I am using the same yarns for all 3 knit-alongs, which wasn't the cleverest idea I ever had. But anyway, I'm going to finish the things now. And now that the loop is done, the cowl is done, it's only 2 projects with the same colors. So I'm not showing that anymore, but now I'm showing Nana's Visit, the mystery knit-along by Sarah Shearer for her gnome, December gnome. And there also, I'm showing it now. I did not knit a lot. I showed you the finished piece number 1 last week. And this is piece number 2. And all I did is finish that one. So I think it's fairly visible what it is. What I think is going to happen, I think we will probably only fill it with stuffing until here so that the 2 fit together, but I'm not sure. That's only what I'm guessing. So I'm not showing anything anymore. That's the mystery knit-alongs that I'm knitting. Then the next project I'm showing you is the other gnome I'm knitting. So I'm knitting another Gnifty for a friend of mine, and I showed you half the hat last week, and I finished the hat. Excuse me. And so I used the 2 solid colors for the hat, and I used some glitter yarn for the light blue. And I finished the hat and I started the body. And for the body, I picked up this glitter yarn by Opal. It's a leftover bit of yarn that I have. And it's a yarn that has the silver glitter already worked into it. And because I wanted to use this one, because my friend loves the glitter yarn, the sparkly yarn, that's why I chose the light blue and the dark red, because I thought those colors go together really nicely. And this is what it looks like. So right now you can't really see a lot of the body when I fold this down, but if I fold this up, this is what it looks like. Yeah, so Gnifty is growing. And the next project is one that I didn't show you last week because I hadn't knit on it, but it's the secret Cove cowl that I'm knitting as part of the pattern battle from the Opal Abo, the Opal subscription yarn. And we got the next parcel last week, so that motivated me to knit on the current pattern battle project, because then at some point we'll start the next one. So for this project, I used this colorway because that's the one that was chosen to be the yarn for the pattern battle. And I started knitting, or I knit most of the secret Cove cowl already. There was some short rows so that on one side it's a bit longer than on the other side. And then the last bit to be knit is a knitted on lace edge. And I wanted to add some beads to it. Not really sure it was a very sensible idea, but I don't care. I don't mind. So I chose to use some dark purple beads. Chose that together with one of my customers who was here at the time. And this is the pattern for the lace edge. So I cast on a few stitches, and I think I was supposed to do a provisional cast on, and I didn't. I couldn't be bothered at the time. So I just cast on stitches and then started knitting the lace pattern. It's not very complicated, not very difficult, but quite nice. And I decided to add beads in between the yarn overs, just at the edge of the lace pattern. And it has increases and decreases. So it has this sort of, is it a scalloped edge? This zigzaggy edge, which I will then also block out when I block the cowl. And yeah, really happy with it. It's, as I said, easy to knit. It's just the beads. They take some time to get onto the stitches. But this is what the cowl is going to look like once it's done. Yeah, so I hope to get that done fairly quickly. But it also takes some time to for the person who's responsible for the pattern battles. She has to pick 3 of the colors. Then there's the time that we have to vote for the colors, and after that is done, there's a time span where we can sign up with our pattern that we want to knit, and the cast on is probably going to be something like the 1st of January. So I still have time to finish it before I start the next one. Then I continue knitting on the Vinahop pullover. So I'm in the garment section now. So with the Vinahop pullover, I finished both the sleeves and continued knitting on the front and back now. And I think last week I was still knitting on that stockinette stripe. And then I finished the next pattern stripe, and I've almost finished the next stockinette stripe. So I am just repeating the same patterns that I did in the sleeves, so that those stripes will always have the same pattern. So the next stripe is going to be the knit one purl one stripe that sort of pulls in a little bit, but I tried it on again, and it's close to where my waist is, so even if it pulls in a little bit, it won't look too bad, I hope. Otherwise I'll have to block it out so that it doesn't pull in too much. And yeah, I will add a few more stripes. I decided to knit to not knit the front and back as long as the sleeves, but they'll be a bit shorter, but I'm not quite sure how short yet. So I'll just keep knitting a few stripes and then keep trying it on, and then I can make a decision. And the same is true for the next pullover. I'm also, there's some decisions that I have to make on that, and that's the Arctic pullover out of this beautiful book, Arctic Knits. And last week, I think I just finished the pattern with the dark color, and now I'm knitting the next I knit a few more rounds with light colored yarn again. So from now on, there won't be a single color row anymore, but because the colors are so close together, they don't really show up a lot. Yeah, so I knit a bit more on that. I tried it on again. I compared it to another pullover that I have with a round yoke, and I decided to knit probably another 7 or 8 rounds, and then I will try it on again, but I will probably then split the sleeve stitches and the front and back stitches and finish the rest of the pattern then, so that the yoke doesn't get too deep, which will probably make it impossible for me to wear a jacket over the pullover. Yeah, but still really happy with this and enjoying knitting this. And as soon as all the decisions have been made, I'll be able to knit more quickly on it, especially once the color work is done. It should be a fairly quick knit. And that brings me to the last project, which is the crochet along that we are doing on this channel. And I did a tutorial video on how to do a spiral granny square or granny hexagon or granny rectangle. And the granny rectangle is what I am doing at the moment. And I added in, I think, 2 more balls of yarn. So it's a fairly big yarn. I'm using a 7mm hook, so it works up fairly quickly. And so I finished all the colors, all the yarn that I had in this first color. And I've now added a new color to the edge. And the next ball of yarn will be more green colors, and it will also have some sparkle. So the Rigato yarn was also available as a with some silver stellina in it, some silver glitter. So that's going to be the next one, and then I can add all the other crazy colors that I've collected over the years. And yeah, I think that was everything that I knit and crocheted last week. It's a bit quicker than usual, but I think that's okay. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.